Welcome back, everybody, to Cool's Reviews. We are back discussing Brad Metzler's Decoded. This time we're jumping Season 2, Episode 2, being the Declaration of Independence. Now, this is sort of a topic we've kind of touched upon thanks to a movie that is touched upon in this episode, and that's National Treasure. If you guys want, we have done a deep dive with a free Mason Robert Sullivan. Link above. You can hear us discuss that movie. Is there a map? Anything like that? There. We previously discussed Season 1, Episode 1, which was the Capitol, cornerstone / White House cornerstone episode. So we're back at it. We're going to try to cover a lot of these and then get back into Project Blue Book in time for Roswell. But as you can see, we got Sam, we got Matt. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Doing great. Shoveled a bunch of snow today, so I'm sore.
Fair.
Yeah, for our non-Colorado viewers, we did get a decent amount of snow today. Kind of one of those rare instances where they tell you you're going to get some snow and you actually get it. There's the joke in Colorado where the weathermen are around 95% of the time, but today we got the snow. So, Matt, glad you're able to join us. Sorry you had a lot of snow. Was this at the school or was this at home or what?
No, this was at home. School, thank goodness. We had a snow day. I'm a little bit glad because this morning looked a little nasty if you were going to be out in this crap.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I will say on my way to work, I didn't even make it out of the neighborhood before I saw a lady spinning out in a Ford Explorer. So I was like, dang it, I don't even have that far to go, and I've already seen people driving crazy. Well, guys, Declaration of Independence. First of all, have any of you seen it in person, I guess?
We did.
Have you really?
No.
Yes, remember? That's the thing we can't talk about?
Oh, I'm being serious. Have you gone to Philadelphia? That's what I'm saying.
I have not.
No.
Besides our extravaganza.
As you can tell, we may or may not feel the same way about Philadelphia that David Lynch did. I don't know. No, eventually we'll get there. There's lots of stuff that we want to record out in Philadelphia, and just unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff we want to record, and we just kind of go with what we can fit in. Hopefully, at some point, we can start fitting more in, and I feel like we have been. So, eventually, we can cross that off, and we'll film you guys whatever we can out in Philadelphia. There's some cool ghost places. There's some awesome historical places, architecture, museums, that kind of stuff. So, eventually, we'll get there. Sam, we'll start off with you. Initial thoughts with this episode on the Declaration.
I mean, it's interesting. Like most things, a lot of the things the forefathers did are kind of missing. And originals have disappeared and makes you question, have we changed it for whatever, if I may say, agenda is going on?
Yes, I was going to say, I think with the Declaration, it's more just the initial copy before everyone signed is missing.
As far as we know.
Yeah. Yeah, you see a lot, even without going into the politics stuff, which just things in history go missing after a while, especially things written on paper. Paper doesn't last very well, especially in some of these climates. Just deteriorates. I think that's why, outside of, obviously they're afraid someone will steal it, when you go to see the actual Declaration that you can see, it's underneath special glass. It's temp regulated, all this and that, motion, sensitive, all that kind of stuff. Matt, what's your initial thoughts with this episode?
I found it actually quite fascinating, just because, like I said, grew up. Well, I didn't not necessarily grew up. I mean, I was a little bit older, but with National Treasure and everything like that, and just kind of sparking that real life conversation. Could there be something involving the Declaration that involves treasure?
Yeah, and this episode really kind of goes off that way versus like where could the Declaration be, like that original like fair copy. They definitely focus on like the Beale papers and like maybe there's a treasure, maybe not. I guess it kind of depends. We'll get there. What you guys believe. Um, Sam, anything exciting on the back of the Declaration? Maybe.
Hmm. There's a handprint. Other than that, um, if we're talking about back, but they found the Beale one in the back of a painting. I don't remember.
Well, I know at
Well,
the end they were saying it could like that Declaration could be like
like
in an old painting.
original. There was
Yeah.
one that was found in the back of the painting. I forget which version they said it was, but there is a potential that a painting that you got from the flea market or passed down from your family could have the original Declaration of Independence in it. Wanted to check in the back of your paintings, you may find the Declaration of Independence, the
Yeah,
original
but at
copy
this
at
point,
least.
what condition are you going to find it in, though? Like Keegan said, the
Yeah,
paper,
you
the
never
ink,
know.
everything is, you know.
Be completely destroyed, or you never know. It could be fine depending on who has it and how well or like where they keep it.
If it's up in an attic, probably not in very good condition. I'm gonna say that,
Ah,
especially on that side where it gets very humid. Probably would deteriorate pretty quickly in that state. Now, if anyone's watching and they know different, please comment because obviously we are not experts in storing of historic artifact papers like the Declaration. But if you guys have better, like if you work for the archives or whatever, and know about how long the paper of that would last in human environments, let us know. But yeah, kind of going back to the handprint. They theorize it could have been Thomas Paine. No one actually knows who it is. It very much could have been just somebody who had ink on their hand and just touched it, like, and we're just reading more into it. Here they say if it is Thomas Paine, maybe it was like a protest for him not being able to sign it, if he was the actual author of the Declaration. Matt, what are your thoughts with the handprint?
Uh, it's intriguing. I mean, it's not a treasure map, darn it, but you never know. Then whose handprint could that lead to something? I mean, we get fingerprints, DNA, whatever. You know, what could it lead to?
Yeah, so I kind of did a quick research. It looks like people kind of first noticed it in 1940. Uh, it says it's not visible in a 1903 photograph. Um,
interesting.
yeah, some have theorized it could have just been the owner of the print shop who reframed the documents in 1888, which I guess could be true. He just happens to be on it now. And that's the thing with like history.
Or
Obviously, there's no way to like actually compare this with a Thomas Paine handprint since that was so long ago and handprinting wasn't a thing back in the day. As far as I know, they don't have a handprint of Thomas Paine. Is what I'm saying. Like all that detective work came much later, so they're not just like chilling out and stuff like that. But as far as a treasure map, something we've touched upon and something that obviously is National Treasure 1. Sam, is there a possibility of a treasure map?
yeah, there is definitely a possibility of a treasure map. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. Like the handprint could be one of the clues, like in National Treasure, how like a lot of the things it was clues to find another thing. Like it could just be something that's kind of hiding or masking away, or is like a clue for someone to cipher.
Matt, what are your thoughts with the treasure map?
Everything they talked about makes a whole lot more sense. That there really could be something. You know, they talk about the Edgar Allan Poe with the Creighton keys and codes and just it may not be a map to what we're thinking, like a pirate's map type thing where the X is going to mark the spot, but it's definitely something that may someday lead us to, or somebody to, one of the biggest findings in American history.
Map to the cornerstone.
Yeah, but I feel like we at least know where the cornerstone is, and we know it was real. With the Beale papers, and they touch upon it, no one knows if obviously they were real or if they were written by Edgar Allan Poe as kind of a practical joke or just a fictional story, but people have read too much into it. You know, a lot of times people read documents and they take things very, very literally,
Mhm.
especially with older documents because they're like, there's no way these are fake, you know? Why would someone make it up? But they do talk to a Poe descendant who says, yeah, it's possible he could have written it. And to this day, I don't think they've proved anything regarding Edgar Allan Poe writing them. But I also don't think they've proved that Thomas Beale was a real dude. There have been some that they've found kind of around, but as far as DC and Virginia, I don't think they've been able to find anything as far as censuses. But I also believe a lot of the census material is missing because it's a swamp. You know, paper doesn't last very well. We know with some of our own research, historical documents get misplaced, buildings burn down, things happen, unfortunately. So I guess that's question one. Sam, Thomas Beale, was he real? Was he Edgar Allan Poe? Was he another guy?
I mean, it would be crazy if it was Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, it'd be crazy and cool. Beale could be like one of those mystery people, like with some of the monuments, or just like random, like anonymous people that like create some stuff and nobody knows who they are. Like it could be someone like that too. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe he could be a real person, but just didn't want to be a part of it. Like some artists nowadays take music from people that created songs and they just sold it to these artists, big artists, and it's actually created by an anonymous person.
Matt, what about you? Do you think he was real?
Ew, man. Yeah, I don't know if that's his real name, but I would say he's a real person. I mean, he's going by a different name,
Like an alias? Yeah.
Yeah, alias for sure. But I believe the person was real. Yes.
Yeah. It's an intriguing mystery. It's one that, you know, maybe we can start covering some of more of these historical mysteries. Obviously we'd want to film it on location, so definitely down the road, but we're all very intrigued by historical mysteries, so why not try to cover some? Obviously, we got some in Colorado. I think, as far as the Beale papers go, the purported expedition was somewhere in either Colorado or New Mexico, kind of based on their story. And, you know, right in our own backyard. You know, maybe we can go find some gold. We know there's gold out there, obviously, because, you know, the gold rush sent everyone here. And a lot of silver, too. We have a lot of the silver stuff we know from the Tabors. Obviously, he was the silver baron, made lots of money. I forget the expense of his parties. Here, let me check on that real quick.
I mean, I learned something that was kind of fascinating. Well, I've heard it mentioned, but I gave it no real attention. But people want to think that Independence Day was on August 2nd when they signed it and not the 4th. But the reason they did it on the 4th is because they announced it to the public that this is what we're doing. And I see why they did it on the 4th opposed from August, but I guess that's a big debate, which I've heard mentioned, but I didn't know it was like a big, big debate.
Yeah, no, it's something I think when people try to be cute or show you like how much knowledge they have of history, they'll be like, "Do you know this isn't really our Independence Day?" And then that's when you say, "Well, it's actually kind of more complicated than what you're going to tell me," because yeah, they may have declared it on the second and may have kind of maybe finished signing it around the 2nd of August. There's debates on when they actually finished signing the declaration. Um, but as far as like bringing it to the public was the 4th, so that's why obviously that we have it on the 4th of July. You know, Matt, what about you? What is something you took away from this one?
Oh, similar to Sam. I always was under the interpretation that July 4th was July 4th because that was the date the independence was signed. But to find out there's a new date and was interesting. And then really, I don't think I knew as much about Edgar Allan Poe being involved with all this as well before either. Because I don't, and I might have to go back. It's been a while since I've seen the movies, but I don't remember Edgar Allan Poe being mentioned in the movies, but I could be wrong.
I don't think so. I believe Beale's mentioned, obviously, and I think because I'm trying to remember what the second one was about. But I don't think he's mentioned. I know there's the movie The
The second
Raven.
one is where the treasure's found up on Mount Rushmore.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Which there's an episode we can cover with this. See, there's some historical mysteries. But I know like The Raven, as far as the movie with John Cusack as Edgar Allan Poe, kind of covers maybe the conspiracy of his death and stuff. Sam, anything that surprised you maybe from this one?
I mean, kind of back to the one thing that they found a copy of the Declaration behind a painting. Like, that was kind of surprising. Or they found one of them. I don't think it's the one that's stored right now, but it was like a different one. Like one of the other kind of copies that they had. Or like, what is that proper term? The
Just the special edition copies,
I kind of
limited,
know.
like limited editions.
I guess limited. I'm more talking about like when you write papers, it's like that, like pre the final draft. It's like the rough draft, a rough draft version. I got there eventually. Yeah, like they had a rough draft version pre-final. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And the talk about actual treasures in the handprint. And that it was so close to us too. That was another thing that I found fascinating. That it was between New Mexico and Colorado, which seems to be a big thing with a lot of kind of big figures.
Yeah, it's two states we cover quite often on here. I did get the numbers for the Tabers. At least once Horace and Baby Doe were married, it looks like he was making roughly about 10,000 a day, and also spending roughly about 10,000 a day. So roughly about 2 million a day. That's a lot of money. Told you silver was worth a ton.
Yes, it is. It was.
Matt, what about you? Anything that really shocked you or surprised you with this one?
Just who maybe truly has signed it, who did not sign it, the amount of different copies that are out there, whether it's the original, printed copies, and we just really don't know what happened to the original. So could the original already kind of be like we've talked in that one episode, right in plain view, and we just don't see it because we're not looking at it, or what? I mean, all that's kind of fascinating.
True. Or could it be like real different from what it actually is like written as in the final one? That's why we can't see it and we don't know.
Let's see, I'm gonna do some updating to see if, since they've done this episode, if they've found it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far it just says a fair copy of the Declaration was a clean version of the document that was approved by Congress on July 4th, 1776. The fair copy was likely marked up by Charles Thomson, the Secretary of Congress. It was then sent to John Dunlap, the official printer, to Congress to be printed. It says the fair copy may have been destroyed during debates or in printing. So when they're actually printing the copies, I guess.
Which is very possible.
Well, it does say the New York Public Library has a fair copy of the Declaration of Independence that was handwritten by Thomas Jefferson. So I'm guessing they are looking for the one approved by Congress? That copy?
How did you get in here?
Well, somebody... Oh, it's Nick Cage.
No, it's Shadow. My other cat. I'm not sure how he got in here or how he snuck in.
How he snuck. Well, overall, Sam, rating recommendation on this episode?
I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It had a lot of interesting information, a lot of curious things from somebody that enjoyed National Treasure for like the kind of hidden puzzles and secrecy behind it. Um, and kind of some accurate information that they just like kind of nonchalantly were just like explaining and like in-depth stuff. I definitely recommend it. It was really good.
Matt, what about you?
Probably going to be close to the Sam. Eight, 8.5, 9, somewhere in there. Probably 8.5. Then we'll just split it. Um, no, very informal. Again, it keeps your hopes of there being treasure out there. Makes me want to become a treasure hunter, but that's a dangerous sport to play.
Hey, there's a couple different treasure hunts we can partake in. There's one that it's in a book, and I know Josh Gates has covered it, and only 3 of them have been found. But they're located in different cities. You just gotta decode what the poems are about to figure out where the treasure's hidden. So hey, there's hope for us yet. We can become treasure hunters, and yeah, no, some of these historical mysteries I think would be cool to start maybe covering on the channel. Just talking about. Obviously, we'd start here in Colorado or New Mexico or Wyoming, the states that we usually are in throughout the year, and kind of go from there. But this one, I think, is good. I'll probably go a little lower, maybe a 7, 7.5. Um, Still really cool, fun. Uh, I don't know, just something about it. Not quite on par with that Cornerstone one, I would say. Just felt like there was a little too much in the episode. Like they could have branched off and made it a couple different episodes, but maybe that's not a bad thing. You're learning about a few different topics, but still pretty fun and interesting. But yeah, that's our discussion on this episode. We'll be back doing more of these. Like I said, we'll be doing about roughly about 8 or so before we get back into Project Blue Book, because we want to start talking about that as we head into the Roswell Festival season. Which, if you guys are going, keep on the lookout. You'll see us there. And yeah, we'll be back for more Cool's reviews. Click that link to your left. For more about us here at Cool's Paranormal to the right. Don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, is there a historical mystery you want us to discuss? Tell us in the comments below.